Alrighty, here we are. It's summer and the Wheelhouse podcast is up to episode 70-something. My name's Joel Spreadborough. Catherine Bates. What's 73, isn't it?
73. Whee! It is, we don't quite have as many Christmas baubles in the bunker, Joel, as I expected. And I think that's because I'm out of town today and I think Mercksy's probably removed all the tinsel and all the baubles. I'm very much in the Christmas spirit. Mercksy, where have all the Christmas decorations gone?
We had some budget cuts. We had to sell some stuff. We'll bring some from home next week.
Okay. We're all about balance here at the Wheelhouse. So Kate levelled the accusation. Mercksy was given the right of reply. And I think the conclusion is that there will be tinsel in future. Tinsel and baubles. Cycling themed, I hope. That would make a lot of sense.
And mistletoe.
And
yes.
Mistletoe. How's your week been, Catherine?
It has been excellent. I'm loving the off season for both myself and the wonderful exploits we see from our athletes. But we're gearing up to Christmas and I'm starting to think about all of those, potential bike rides I can go on.
Oh,
I haven't been on my bike enough, to be honest. It's been exceptionally hot. So some of those bike rides might be done in the bunker at home with the fan because it's like 39, 40 degrees Celsius here at the moment. So, yeah, a little bit tough.
Why are you in a T-Mobile kit? Yeah. What's that about?
I know. Well, that's a good question. I'm in my T-Mobile kit, firstly, because I'm in the process of moving some of my things and I don't have a lot of clothes here, I'll be honest. And apparently turning up with nothing on, is not appropriate for our genre. That's the first.
Whoa.
And the second reason is because we're going to talk about a few little things T-Mobile-esque. And look, I've got to be honest, the third reason is very ego-driven, and it's because it's my T-Mobile jersey from when I raced, and the fact that it still fits me brings me a lot of joy and reassurance.
Okay.
So that's my outfit for the day.
That's fantastic. I just want to circle back quickly to coming to work naked is not appropriate for the genre. Do you mean the genre of cycling?
Yes. Okay. Or sport or general workplace.
Just
I think OnlyFans is possibly the only genre that it could be appropriate for, and I can confirm it's not a workplace I operate in.
We'll have to ask Nick Kyrgios for his thoughts on that, the newest member of OnlyFans. Okay, no worries at all. It is hot. I'm going to say I've snuck out for a few, and in this part of the world where the bunker is, we won't reveal the secret location, but just south of here, a brand new veloway has just opened up. Now, when I moved to Brisbane from Sydney 3 years ago, this was under construction. And I was just starting to fall in love with bikes and cycling. I've always loved bikes, but falling in love with the sport at an elite level. And I remember driving past it for the first time going, cannot wait to ride my bike on that. That is so cool. And it has taken 3.5 years. And I finally went for my first ride on it the other day.
Exceptional.
Kate, it was so good. I clocked up 30-odd Ks, most of them at a pretty good clip, I have to say, because it lives up to its name as a veloway. It's quite pacey. And I was like, this is great. I'm just absolutely cruising here. A nice little slope down, beautiful. And then I realised 15 kilometres in, what goes down must, of course, come up. And the ride back was rather punishing. And as you say, those tops, we're not quite at the 39 degree, but it was, let me tell you, 2 pieces of steak for a chamois that day.
It's a 2-steak day. Hashtag.
If
we can get that trending over the summer, we are winning.
It's a 2-steak day. It's a serious business when you need 2 steaks shoved down your pants. Now, Kate, let's start with some serious news this week. Now, the saga, an off-season saga that has been dominating the headlines is, of course, the Cian Uijtdebroeks bullying controversy. Now, this all, of course, started with his transfer, leaving Bora, Hansgrohe, going over to Jumbo, and then they're basically being, hang on, hey, whoa, no, you're not going anywhere. And then the can of worms, it's like you're shoving your hand into a can of worms and you get further down, there's more worms and it gets gross and more gross.
rider himself saying, I'm on the move. This is so exciting. Next came the announcement from Jumbo. Yay, great to have him. Next, and this is where it all went pear-shaped, came the announcement from Bora Hansgrohe. The statement, we have not let him go. He remains on contract now and into 2024. There is nothing to announce here. There are so many elements of this that we can go into. You can't go past the human element. Like, obviously, this young kid wants out for all of the reasons that we can discuss. But from just a purely process perspective, how does this even happen? How does a rider sign with another team when the other team hasn't let him go? The UCI is meant to be in the middle with all of the papers signed to sign off on this. Clearly, process hasn't been followed. WTF UCI? Are we really surprised that the ball's been dropped in that court? But ultimately, I want to front foot this with, this is interesting to talk about. So many people are sitting back with their popcorn, eagerly going, oh, how is this going to play out? What's going on? But there's a 20-year-old kid in Belgium who doesn't now know what his future looks like, is being mocked relentlessly by memes on the internet. It's now come up that he feels like he's been bullied. What an absolute mess for a rider who has been spoken about as the next Remco in cycling. This should not be happening.
It was Dutch journalist Thies Zonneveld raising these allegations of bullying. And also, hang on just one sec, Kate. I've just got a message, sorry. Merksy, what about Kate this morning? I know, the Kate group, yeah. The anti-Cian group. Now, a WhatsApp group where the rest of the team, and this is what the journalist who raised it said, that they're treating the kid like he's kind of a nerd. And they've basically created a group chat to bitch and gossip about Cian and Cian's antics. Now, regardless of Cian and Cian's character, I don't know anything about him. I've never met the guy. I know that he's very, very young, still developing certain aspects emotionally and all of that kind of thing, and operating at an elite level in a very high-pressure sport. And unless he has done something really, really bad to the rest of his team, and even then, I'm not sure it's okay, this kind of bullying, it absolutely doesn't wash. And you wonder what Bora are thinking with the whole, no, you're not going anywhere. It's like, why do you want to keep, like, especially now, it's never going to work out. This is never going to be okay. Let the kid go. Just get it over and done with. And as for the rest of those riders, give them a very severe first and last warning when it comes to the way you treat your teammates and you embrace, especially younger members of your team. Is my thoughts. I think it's pathetic.
Yeah, I think when it comes to bullying, people often think about the kind of harassment element, the physical intimidation or abuse. You know, often we're seeing kind of pictures of kids being pushed over in the schoolyard or something like that. But social exclusion is a really big thing. And having a group where this one athlete is excluded when they're all supposed to be a team, part of being a team in that kind of high pressure environment, absolutely requires everybody to be on the same page and to be very honest and open in their communication. It's absolutely not okay. And that massively sabotages this kid's performance. And so regardless of, and there's been a lot of back and forth, right? A lot of people on social media have now gone after Bora Hansgrohe and said, you're all bullies and you should be ashamed of yourselves. And then there's another school of people who've come out and said, well, that's ridiculous. He needs to toughen up. You know, what is the middle ground? I think it's quite a complicated one. But at the end of the day, if a 20-year-old is feeling socially excluded, like he's not part of it, he's upset, he wants to terminate a really lucrative contract with one of the most successful teams, red flags are going. Yeah. I can also say that Bernie Eisel, who's the team manager at Bora, who's come out and said, it's not true, we didn't bully them. He's a good guy. I know him to be a good guy. I raced with him on T-Mobile. He was one of the kindest and most thoughtful athletes on the team. However, I don't think that if he really understands what happens, that he really understands what bullying is, because you can't socially exclude someone and make them feel essentially like crap and make them want to leave and then turn around and say, but he made problems. He's a kid. And so I don't even think Bora's retort has any weight. And I think if you want to strip it all back, the reality, Joel, is this should never have played out in the media.
No.
It's horrendous for everybody involved. It should not have played out. And something has gone wrong. And I reckon you've got to 100% blame his manager for this. Because if Jumbo definitely think that he's free, then they're doing the right thing. Maybe they should have looked at the paperwork better. If Bora is saying absolutely this hasn't happened, then what on earth is the manager doing, and how can he shepherd a 20-year-old into this mess? He's the one, I think, who we should really be saying, you've created this drama.
Yeah, I completely agree. Merksy has a thought.
Oh, no, I was just going to say maybe the manager wasn't aware, and maybe it was just the bike riders themselves that, were doing the bullying.
I think if it is that, and if it is that in-house within the in-house...
As in Bora's manager.
Find out who started the group and get rid of them. Get rid of a poisonous element in the team. Whoever did it, whoever set that up should not be part of that team. Bora, optically, are looking a little bit, bullyish themselves with the transfer demand. I believe 1 million euros as well. This kid has already started training. He's in Spain training with Jumbo. He's wearing unmarked kit. He's in a world of uncertainty, and he's obviously got this on his mind, as you do when bullying occurs. It's not pretty. It's not friendly. The repercussions can be severe. But if the manager is, I agree with Merck. Like, the manager's not aware of it. Find out who has driven it and kick him out. Get rid of it.
Yeah, but then, I can say that Bernie's such a great guy, and it's hard to imagine him maliciously being part of something like that. But he's still not doing his job if he doesn't know this is going on. Like, he should be all over that. He should be so tapped in and dialed into what's going on that this shouldn't be able to occur. Culturally, they have a problem, and he also needs, I think, to have a better statement saying, from my view, there was certainly nothing intentional, but it's horrible that an athlete would feel like that, and we need to look into it. So I also think that there's a fail on that side, like lots of fails around the place here. But this isn't the first time that an athlete has wanted out of a team, even though they've been contracted to do it. And Bradley Wiggins is one of the biggest examples. In 2010, he headed over to Sky. He was still contracted to Garmin Slipstream at the time. And rumour had it back then that it was a 7-figure sum, which was a 7-figure sum is big now, but 13 years ago, proportionally even bigger, right? But they got it done. He was able to race, and he was able to find some confidence and peace in that. He then went on to win the Tour de France with Sky a couple of years later. So it's not that this doesn't happen, it's how it's handled. Another great example is Wout van Aert. And he actually had to pay 662,000 euros himself, which is a big sum of money. Thank you very much. It's a cool million Aussie dollars to his team when he went over to Jumbo. That was to Sniper Cycling because he also skipped out on his contract when it still had a year left to run. This is going to happen. We've talked about it with Sam Bennett. We talk about it with Caleb Ewan. If they're miserable and they want out, let them leave. Nobody's getting any benefit out of that. But also, you can't have a free-for-all where riders can just not honour contracts. So there has been buyouts, and there has been, arrangements made. And that's where this is a failure, because clearly Cian's manager has not done that. And so everybody feels pretty aggrieved now.
Yeah.
And all the fans are taking sides. Now half of the fans think that Bora are disgraceful. People are saying Jumbo are disgraceful. People are saying this kid's out of line. What a mess.
It is a mess. And I think if a rider is skipping out on a team just because they're like, couldn't be bothered being here, then sure, penalise them. If there's something bigger issue, if there's a cultural issue that this is unpacking, and I'm sure Bernie is a lovely guy, but stronger leadership is absolutely required, more decisive leadership. And don't go public when you don't know what's going on, for God's sake. It's just...
yeah. And this is the point of athlete managers, right? Because a 20-year-old young athlete is very unlikely to be able to sift through a contract and understand all the implications and have the skills to do all of this kind of negotiating, especially when there's hostilities.
Yep.
So the athletes need a bit more protection here.
And let's not forget this rider, Cian Uijtdebroeks, is being described as the next Remco as well. So we're not just talking about a middling talent here. We're talking about a very serious prospect. Team would be happy to have him, snap him up, find a way to make him gel. The thing will be when the Jumbo thing, if and when the Jumbo thing clears up, if this then happens again and teammates and him become alienated once again, it's like, okay, maybe we have a little bit of a personality issue here. But at this stage, I'm seeing or reading about a 20-year-old who's in a world of hurt, essentially, and just wanting to get the fire truck out of there. See what I did there, Kate?
Yes, exactly. Well, and I wish him all the best, because I really hate to think that he's now caught in the middle of this and legal action, and that's certainly not a way for an athlete to be able to prosper. And I can see his off season really suffering. Like, you can't go out and train and just put this all aside. You can't. Realistically, it's just not possible for him to get the best out of himself, get all the sleep and recovery he needs and the quality with all of this hanging over his head. So I just want to see a good outcome. And to be honest, I don't care about the teams. Like, they've made this mess. They can fix it.
Sort it out.
This rider just deserves to be able to get on with it. And, and to that point, Joel, if he said to his agent, I want out, I'm just going to leave, the agent, it was his job to say, no, you can't. But obviously the agent has said, no worries, I'll go negotiate with this other mob.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm cranky about that point, aren't I?
No.
That's my biggest point.
I'm hearing you. Sometimes people want to leave. Like you said, Cian, Wout van Aert, Merksy every other week wants to leave us because we're absolute chaos. Hello, Merksy.
I'm just putting it out there, devil's advocate. What if he's just an obnoxious brat?
Yes.
And he just is like, get me out of here.
I'm glad you said that.
That's pretty harsh on Bora. Just saying.
That's why I bring up the thing is that if Jumbo, in a year from now, it's like something similar happens at Jumbo, it's like, okay, maybe we're looking at that. But that at the moment is, that's innocent until proven guilty.
Hold on. Who cares if he's an obnoxious brat? If he's an obnoxious brat and says, I want to get the heck out of here, then his agent should have said, cool, but you're legally not allowed to. And Jumbo should have said, we really want you, but legally we're not allowed to take you.
You're contracted
it should just
elsewhere.
Still be process driven. And even if he is, a little bit painful or a spoilt brat or whatnot, and again, we're not saying he is, we don't know him, but it shouldn't even be the deciding factor here.
Okay, yep, fair enough. Well, a lot to unpack with this one, 100%. But, we'll just see. I definitely don't agree with an all-verse-one WhatsApp group. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But once again, just the administration, the handling of it, again, the UCI and the way contracts and, these regulations are upheld sometimes leaves a little bit, just a tiny, tiny little bit to be desired. Just a tiny, tiny little bit on the Wheelhouse podcast, episode 70-something. Kate Bates. Now, women's Giro. We've got some news. We've got some RCS Sport. It's funny, when I first saw this, I thought, wow, our wonderful production studio, River City Studios, is involved with the women's Giro. But no, it's not River City Studios, RCS. Not yet, anyway. But RCS Sport running the event from next year, Catherine. Indeed,
and they were meant to announce the course earlier in the year, concurrent to the men. They didn't, so we've all been waiting, and boy, has it been worth the wait, because this is an absolute cracker. 7 stages, starts with a 14.3 kilometre time trial. The Queen stage finishes on top of the Blockhouse, which is a mountain that, my sprinter legs have certainly never wanted to climb, and then another mountain finish on the final day. It's a really important race in 2024 because it is the lead-in to the Olympics. So it is 7th to 14th of July. The Olympics are then on the 27th for the time trial, the 4th of August for the road race. And this will be the last really big race for a lot of the athletes to prepare. It really elevates the status of the race in that way. And it means that certainly we're going to see a lot of the Aussies in action, and the riders getting ready for the Olympics will all be there. So that's exciting to watch. But I think more broadly, it's really exciting that for the first time, the women's Giro d'Italia is now a respected, real event. And I did 10 of the damn things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they weren't real. They certainly felt real on my back and my butt. But I do think that this
Two-stake
is a
race.
really big elevation.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a triple staker, that one, Joel. It was a triple staker. Yeah, but it's, we've got a lot of Aussies that will really be looking forward to this race. And we've had a lot of stage victories over the years, actually. Back in my day, Rochelle Gilmore had a few stage wins in the sprinting stages because she was such a great sprinter. Beck McConnell was also won a stage with a team time trial. We don't like team time. I don't like team time trials. So they're not in anymore. But Australia has a great history in the race, and I just see this as a really great elevation for the Aussie element of the sport. But it's a great course for the Italian hopes too, because Silvia Persico, it's a great course for her. Gaia Railini, who we saw really grow last year at the Women's Tour de France. These are the athletes who are going to be nailing it on the front. Is it too early to get excited? I don't know.
Never too early.
Why not?
I have a spanner, though, because it's less than 2 weeks before the start of the Olympics. So does that mean there's a slight risk that some of the more high-profile, established, assured athletes might say, I'll give it a miss because I'm thinking about Paris?
Look, generally not, the exception being the more pure time trialists. So you might see athletes like Chloe Dygert who could win that opening stage and take the pink jersey and get some great preparation. She may choose not to do it because for her the time trial is the really big aim and it's kind of not worth it. But you do need to prepare for racing by racing. And that does come with some of the risk of it and some of the nervousness, absolutely. But most of the men will be preparing at the Tour de France to also go. And we know how often the men fall off multiple times at a Tour de France. So there is a risk, but I actually think it will mean that we have a really top quality field there. And if anything, the Women's Tour de France may be affected on the other end because the track cycling at the Olympics doesn't finish until the 11th of August. The Women's Tour de France starts on the 12th. So logistically, riders like Lotte Kopecky, how do you get from Paris at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. on a Sunday to where you need to go for the Tour de France the next morning? So, I actually think if anything, it elevates the status of the Women's Giro.
Yeah, no, well, very well said. There you go. So the Tour might be the one instead that feels that impact. The Wheelhouse Podcast. Now, staying on the women's side of the sport for now, Kate, Women's World Tour teams confirmed during the week as well. You've always got the inside track on this. Any surprises? Any shocks?
No, there's no real surprises, to be honest. There was only one team that applied that got left out, and that's Laboral Cookster. And they're a Spanish team. All the big hitters were all there. So for the women, the SD Works, who was our top team, Team DSM, Canyon SRAM, Movistar, Jayco Alula, all of these teams will be back and guaranteed some racing. So not much to see here, but we had 17 Aussie women in the World Tour last year, which is huge, by the way. Like, that's an incredible number of female athletes and something I think we can be really proud of. And we're looking next year to maybe bump that over 20. So squads are still being confirmed, but I think that there's a few spots available on some of the teams just to see what happens early season next year and with some of the riders. So good news for the Aussie women again on that front. And yeah, no real surprises. I look forward, Joel, to when there's enough depth in the women's teams that we are starting to see that battle for the last World Tour spot like we are seeing in the men, but we're not quite there.
Okay, well, you listed off a couple of the big hitters team-wise as well, so let's throw ahead to January and all eyes on Adelaide, of course, the Tour Down Under. Now, I've asked this question before, I'm going to ask it again. Why the fire truck are the likes of SD Works and some of those bigger teams not jumping on the jet plane and coming down under, Kate?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good question. Your big teams like SD Works choose not to come to the Tour Down Under because the UCI allows the Women's World Tour teams to skip World Tour races. Now, I'm not on board with this because it affects the organisers quite proportionally. Like, it's horrible to think that the Santos Tour Down Under is not going to get all the teams because the UCI gives them the choice, and Australia's a long way away and it could be expensive. It shouldn't be like that, in my view. They should all be headed down under, but we will still miss a few of the bigger teams who haven't confirmed yet. The exciting news, though, is that a lot of the Aussie riders, we were just talking, we've got 17 in the World Tour at the moment. This will be an exceptionally important race for them. And so they are all coming with the absolute crack squads. Jake Alula have announced who they're bringing, and it is, I was about to say breakfast of champions. I must be hungry or something. It is like the hit list of Aussie athletes. And if we look back at 2023, we had 8 pro wins from the Aussies, from the Aussie women. 4 of them were World Tour wins. 3 of those were at the Tour Down Under. And the other one, the 4th one, was Grace Brown in stage 4 at the Tour of Scandinavia. So that just shows how important the Tour Down Under is. When we think about World Tour victories by nation, what we're really talking about is qualifying spots, not only for the Olympics, but also for the World Championships, and where your country is ranked as a nation. So for Australia, this is such an important race. So can I say that controversially, on one hand, it's a real bummer to not get the likes of Demi Vollering and SD Works and a lot of Kopecky coming down under for the tour. But on the flip side of that, it provides the Aussies a really good opportunity in their summer with great form to win some big races, to get some really valuable points, and to really cement ourselves on the world stage. Because goodness knows, Joel, we've talked about it to death, how difficult it is for the Aussies to go to Europe, like how tough it is for the Aussies versus the Europeans who are racing and then, going home for a roast lamb on a Sunday night. Probably not a roast lamb given they're Europeans, but you get my drift. And so it is really good to see that all of the Aussie teams are continuing to really prioritise it.
Look, I would like to see a demonstration of Demi Vollering down under. I will say, yes. I think, best sport.
Demonstration.
I love how it's like the Aussies, they'll have to come to it. You come to us and do your best and they perform really well, but it's like your chance to come down under. Nah, I'll give it a miss. Not going to come. That's okay. And it's big for you to say you've got issue with that, with the UCI there, because you usually very much see eye to eye.
I do.
With the UCI. Eye to eye with the UCI.
How unusual for me to have a criticism of the UCI.
I know.
But they do bear so much power, Joel.
Yes.
And with great power comes great responsibility.
Okay, let's have a look at the Alula Jaco lineup. So Georgia Baker, Georgie Howe, Alex Manley, of course, who did very well last year with that stage win. Yes. Ruby Rosamond Gannon, Ella Wiley, the Kiwi, the rogue Kiwi in the group. She's only 21, I believe. Welcome. We love adopting Kiwis. That's what we do. So
we'll awesome. Take her like we take Pavlova and Russell Crowe.
You know it.
Come on board.
Yeah. I am, you are, we are New Zealanders. Now, big one this week, Catherine Bates. Now, episode 73, I think it probably would have been, I'm going to take a guess here, probably around episode 30, 33, when we got a bit sad about Ellen Van Dyke calling it quits. Fast forward 40-odd episodes, and she's back. EVD is back, Kate.
She's back. We're excited because we got really excited when Ellen Van Dyke came to Australia for the Wollongong World Championships. And we even got to have a little bit of ridiculous banter about the wonderful prizes she was winning, if you recall.
Absolutely.
Joel, she won a hamper of sex toys.
Sex toys, yeah.
If you haven't heard that episode, we won't rehash it. Go back and find it. But Ellen then announced shortly thereafter that they were expecting their first child. So that was very exciting, but also a little bit of a bummer to see her out of the peloton. She gave birth in September, a little farce, the little boy.
Yep.
And she's back in training. She's back on training camp, and she's got her sights firmly set on the Paris Olympics and the time trial. She is eyeing it off. And I tell you what, she's a woman on a mission, and she's the kind of woman on a mission where when she puts something in her crosshairs like that, she usually achieves it. So I would say that Grace Brown and Chloe Dargett took a double look at that article and made sure they read it right. And look, she said that she doesn't know honestly how difficult it will be to balance having a baby with, with the traveling and the preparations. She's going to give it a crack. She's committed to head to Paris. She qualifies. After that, it really depends on the impact it's having on her and the family. So, let's see how it goes. Some athletes are able to combine it better than others. Some athletes find parenthood and it changes them a bit, and their goals and ambitions change too. So I don't think we're one to decide for her, but certainly what a great day that the sport's evolved to the point where it's actually their choice, whether they want to manage a family and an athletic career, not the sport's choice like it was in the past.
Yep, no, beautifully said. And I think with EVD obviously coming back, targeting those Olympics, you may as well just tack on a few weeks because, as we've just discussed with the scheduling, you'll get the TDF in as well. So it's only just not a big extra commitment for Ellen van Dijk. And you know what? This has the makings of excellence around it, because do well in the Olympics and then who knows, kick on for another year, win everything, shake up that world order, that sort of new world order that's been established, and then say, mic drop, see you later.
Done. Well, now I've just been thinking, Joel, because we see a lot of photos of Demi Vollering, training with her puppy dog on her back.
Oh, you can fast
and we're
on
like,
okay.
Oh, gosh. I'm wondering if you could pop fast in the little baby Bjorn and
still win.
Get out a little bit of, resistance training. I don't know.
We'll have to talk to the UCI to see how they feel about that on race day.
Or maybe child services.
That too.
We might need to talk to them too.
Quick,
but,
Kate,
look.
Yeah, go through the manual. There has to be a regulation somewhere about carrying a baby during a time trial at the very least. We'll see.
Oh, come on, Joel. I'm not suggesting she does it in racing. I'm just suggesting she does it in training.
I reckon
although
racing.
There could be an interesting hill climb between Demi and her dog and Ellen and her baby, both straight.
Can you imagine it? She's punching up the hill and she's like, "Badon, badon, badon." She goes, "Oh no, that's the baby's milk. No, I want water." But anyway, we'll see. That'll be interesting. Now, Kate, we spoke on the last episode 72, again about Caleb Ewan and finding a new home and being like, okay, you're not going to be the tour guy, but that's okay. You can build back up. But we do know that he has got some crosshairs out. And he's targeting cadels. He's targeting the gore, what I like to call it.
The gore.
Now, same management. Now, this is Jason Backer. We've spoken about this before, sharing a management with Cadel. What is there to see here, Kate, other than his chest, it turns out?
Yeah, he's got his rig out. He's been running around Centennial Park in Sydney, doing a little bit of cross training with some local footy athletes in Sydney, which I think is great because it shows a motivated athlete who's doing something a little bit different. And we know that we know that Caleb needs that. But Jason Backer and Cadel, of course, own and run the Gore, the Great Ocean Road Race, supported by Victorian Tourism, I think make it possible. And so I think for Caleb, almost the same names in an anagram. Interesting.
A lot of symmetry here.
Interesting to think about. He's been pretty close to winning there before, and I think it would just be quite a symbolic homecoming, especially with an Aussie team. Now he's riding for Jaco Alula, to be able to do that. And so I think that that's probably a big thing that is behind his goal, that he's really able to align with his mentors, with his management, with his Australian hopes and get it done. I mean, it would be cool. The fans want to see Caleb winning, full stop. But in Australia, even better.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We want to see Caleb back to that summit.
Yep.
So this is the start of that. Good luck to him. Now, Kate, how are you going with your Christmas shopping?
Yes, look, I think Caleb gave everybody an early Christmas present with some videos of him running with his rig out. Unfortunately, you can't purchase such presents, Joel.
So that was Centennial Park.
Whoa.
Merksy, we are all about balance, right of reply.
I'm sorry.
Merksy?
I don't know what to say. I might have to cut this bit out. My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, you've hurt Merxie.
Oh, come on. On the internet, they call it a thirst trap. Like he's giving the fans what they want.
Right.
Otherwise, he would just wear clothes, right?
Oh, my goodness, man.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Just put something in the chat, Merxie. We'll talk about it later. Now, I'm only joking. So he was running around Centennial Park in Sydney. You wouldn't be able to tell me what kind of shoes he was wearing or whether he was wearing sunglasses or a cap or anything else because he had his sun's out.
But he had a heart rate monitor on.
He did have a heart. Okay.
He did. Now,
Strapped around the chest.
was thinking, I think this conversation started with Christmas presents, and I naturally took it off course. I can tell you that I wouldn't think, for me, a heart rate strap is not on the Christmas list. But I do like to get a little bit creative. And you know what else I like to do, Joel?
What?
I like to drag the non-cycling people in my life into cycling.
Yes.
Kicking and screaming.
That's what you've done with me, and I love it.
I have. And so I've had a little bit of a deep dive through the Bike Bug website.
Okay.
Because we've got a discount code, Wheelhouse, gets you 10% off. Who doesn't want to bargain at Christmas? And I've come up with a list, if you will.
I love this.
Of Christmas gifts that are cycling themed, but could be appropriate for non-cycling people.
Okay.
For your Secret Santas.
Excellent. Merxie.
Right?
Sorry to interrupt. Can we just check something? When you saw Caleb with his rig out, did you see that online or were you in Centennial Park? Because you're in Sydney now. I just wondering.
He posted it on his Instagram reels.
So you weren't in the
out
park.
to be a creeper.
So you called an Uber, said Centennial Park, pronto.
Yeah.
No.
What
No, he put this out himself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Merxie, are you satisfied? We are all about balance, Merxie.
Yeah, I don't know about this. We'll have to do some more investigations.
Where was Kate?
Yeah.
Did you spot Kate? If you were in and around Centennial Park this week, did you spot Kate?
Come on now, fellas. Come on.
I would have been there. I love Centennial
yeah,
Park.
you would have. Yes, indeed. Well, I'm going to bring us back on track because I took us off track. So I'm dragging my non-cycling friends and family into the Christmas spirit, all right? And I'm doing it through cycling-themed gifts. And so I've gone onto Bike Bug. The first thing on my list for a Secret Santa for a non-cycling themed person is a Park Tool pizza cutter. So you use the front wheel. It's a bike. It looks
Bike
like
shape.
a bike.
Okay,
with front wheel to cut the pizza. It's a blade,
great.
right? Perfect.
Is it endorsed
Very
by
good.
Remco Evenepoel, the former Pizza Hut boy?
It should be.
Oh, they've missed a trick
missed
there.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. The next one on my list, Joel, is a bell.
Yep.
Because a lot of states in Australia require a bell on any bicycle that looks like a drum cymbal.
Yes, I've seen this one. For anyone
you're a
familiar,
drummer.
Yeah, for anyone familiar with the sticked arts, it's a splash cymbal. Looks like a little splash.
Oh,
it's fantastic. I'd
like
love to rig it up to my
hi-hatty
kit.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see how it sounded. The splash is the one that's like. Whoosh, whoosh. I wonder if it sounds like that. Hello, Merxie.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry to get off track. I was just looking up Bike
Again.
Bug and I thought we could get a shirt for Caleb to put on. For his training. It's a good shirt.
Send him a shirt.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You
And
can take
Merxie-
it to him,
Caleb.
Kate. You can take it to him.
With a little Christmas card saying, "Dear Caleb,
Oh
put
my
this on
gosh.
immediately."
Yeah.
Love Merxie. What do you reckon, Kate?
Courtesy of us. I'm going to just keep moving because
Please.
I keep getting sabotaged. Like you make one comment about someone with their rig out.
It was more than one
And
comment.
all of a sudden, it was true. So the next one, and this might be appealing to both of you guys and potentially family members, a Theragun vibrating massage ball.
Hang on. Sorry.
whoa.
Whoa. What?
A vibrating massage ball
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
by Theragun.
Okay.
Yeah. To relieve your sore muscles.
Okay. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
your.
you just turn it on and you roll on it.
Great. That's
Yes,
awesome.
Yes.
A massage.
Well, we've
a
got one
massage
of the
gun. Yeah.
we've got a massage gun at home, and the
Yep.
gun's great, but it's a ball. So there's another one. The other thing I found, and this is a little bit more cycling themed, but I thought it was very cool, is an advent calendar where each little box has a tool in it. So
Some sort of
they're-
cycling, like a repair tool of some kind. Like
it is, yes,
puncture.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
And their description says, "Oh, holy night, the tools are brightly shining."
Oh, goodness. The tools are
And I
brightly
think that's
shining
genius.
due to the massage
Yep.
gun. Okay.
Yep.
You know
So
what we should?
I mean, I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Joel, is something going on that I don't know about? There's a bit of a theme here, Bates.
A little bit of a theme.
I don't know.
I'm very festive.
You wait to hear about the advent calendar that we're developing, and it's basically that at the start of December, it's a fully clothed Caleb Ewan. But by the time you get to December 31 and you've opened all the doors, you're back at Centennial Park, and it's magic.
Yes.
It's magic, isn't it?
I think there's a genre around that already that usually firemen fill that genre.
Those pens as well.
Oh, now we're on to firemen. Move this along, Catherine.
All right, it's the Wheelhouse Podcast. It's episode 73. We need to get through it so we can all get down to Centennial Park. Now, a reminder, of course, that code is Wheelhouse, all lowercase, 10% discount, bikebug.com. And as you say very astutely, Catherine, it's not all serious cyclists. There's some peripheral cycling interest as well. If you're just learning or you're admiring the sport, you can dabble with a pizza cutter or a massage balling massage gun or a Caleb Ewan advent calendar. Oh, hang on, no, that doesn't exist yet, but one day, right, Kate? Now, Kate.
Right.
The Austral
Yes.
is coming up. Now, it's the world oldest track bicycle race, going back to 1887. It's a wheel race, and I've got one pretty simple question for you. What's a wheel race?
Against its name, it's not actually a race done on wheels. What it is it's a handicap event on the track. And if you play golf or something, you have a bit of an idea about what a handicap may be. But you have the best riders, as ranked by the handicapper, that start on what is called scratch, which is on the start-finish line. And they have to race the full distance of the event, which is usually 8 to 12 laps. And then everybody else, down the ranking gets a mark. And it may be 20 meters, it may be 40 meters, it may be 180 meters. And from that mark, they have a handler who pushes them off at the start. There are very strong rules, Joel. The handler may push but not run, because you can imagine in the good old days, bad old days, the key to winning a handicap was having the best handler who could run you halfway around the track before catapulting you up to full speed.
Yeah.
And then
like a dad with a when kids are learning to swim and they have their swimming races and the dads sort of help them through the water, and you can tell
they torpedo them.
The very ambitious dads are going, come on. Yeah. Okay. It's kind of like that.
Yes.
All right.
It is. And so therefore you can incorporate, it's not just for A graders or elite, you can incorporate all the grades because they get different marks across the way. It's quite a well-known traditional event in Australia. They're called wheel races or handicap races, that kind of thing. Yeah. So the bigger the track, the harder it is, because you can have an out marker right behind the scratch marker, and therefore nearly doing 400 meters less. But on a 250 meter track, the biggest handicap someone would have, the outmark would be about 200 meters realistically. And so then the best riders have to try and chase the outmarkers, and may the best rider on the day win.
All right.
It's quite a good format.
Stephen Pate, 4 victories, the record holder, the all-timer.
Yeah, he's a bit of a gun. He was one of our great Olympians. But I want to point out that this is Australia's oldest race, but there's been a little controversy over the years, Joel, because back in 1901, an American fella, he won, but there was some allegations of match fixing.
Oh.
That they waited for the back markers to then tow them back up, which happens but is technically illegal. So Bill Martin, he won from scratch, but people weren't too happy. And you can imagine back then there was a fair bit of gambling that was associated with such events. And so that is no longer the case. And so it is a little bit different now. But yes, they used to win. How's this? 240 sovereigns.
Oh, great.
The prize packet in 1898. And before that, they won a grand piano.
A grand piano?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not not sure how they transported said grand piano home. Not many people would have had an easy way to transport a grand piano in the 1800s, but yeah.
You know, where there's
not
a
the
will,
most
though,
practical prize.
where there's a will, someone who could carry it on their back. Caleb Ewan. Let's be honest, a shirtless back.
Well, he'd definitely need, but if it was sweaty, it would slide off. He'd need a shirt for that. So
I love that.
He doesn't get my vote.
A grand piano, you get 10 head of cattle and 3 pieces of hack silver. Congratulations and thanks for racing. All right, that's the Austral race. Now, you mentioned some American involvement there. Let's stay with America, and hello to all of our listeners in the United States, of course. We're going to talk about a bit of a groundbreaker from around the same era. Now, this is great. Now, this is not easy to get a congressional honour over in America. Trust me, I've been trying for years. It's really, really difficult. You need to win a few World Cups or do something pretty special or be Tom Brady. But we're going back to a guy who's not with us anymore. Otherwise, he'd be about 100 and 400. There you go. There's a new number. Marshall Major Taylor, an African-American cyclist born all the way back in 1878 and the first genuine superstar of US cycling, Kate.
Yeah, he was the first African-American to be a world champion in any sport. And it was in cycling in the sprint. And so he was world renowned at the time, but he never really got his honor in the US, which is a real shame, I think, that
of course, yeah.
That incredible achievement kind of blurred off in the history of the sport in America. But it's really cool, his story. They've made a few movies over the time about it that you can jump on the interwebs and find all of the different iterations of that. But to get a congressional gold medal is a massive thing, like you said. It's not like a presidential honor where they just hand it out and the president essentially signs off on a list. It has to go through Congress and a bill get passed in order for it to happen. And so there has to be really broad bipartisan support. And so if this happens, and it looks like it will, this will be a major thing for African-American athletes. And certainly for the family and the memory of Marshall Major Taylor. So pretty cool. I love it. And I think that the history of track cycling is so rich, and so often we're talking about the road events and the Tour de France and all this sort of thing, but track is such a beautiful discipline in and of itself, and with such a rich history. So this is a cool one.
Yeah,
a feel-good one.
It genuinely is. And as you say, first African-American world champion in any sport whatsoever. And I just think you have to mention during these eras, and obviously decades past, this honour, and I hate to say this, but it wouldn't have been possible because there's no way that an honour to an African-American would have gone through like this, which is disgusting, of course. But I just hat tip to any athlete from those times. I'm talking, the Jesse Owens of the world and whatnot, that managed to rise above the bullshit and excel with absolutely zero support, zero assistance. It's not just in, those sports, but it's so good to know that cycling had a people's champion like that as well. And look, long overdue. Let's be honest. It's 125 years overdue. But that recognition, let's hope that does get through, because that's legend status in my book. A renowned sprinter as well. So I can really relate to him as a sprinter myself. I'm not a sprinter. That's a terrible lie. But sprinting for the coffee, the cafe. That's about it at the end of the ride. Now,
our regular wheelhouse enemy is over there, aren't you, Jolie?
You know it. Bring on the pace. Bring on the pace and the splinters from the stacking it on the velodrome. Now, hat tip to Marshall Major Taylor, 100%. I really, really like it. Now, Kate, I'm just to let you know now that I'm just looking for a little bit of a side hustle over summer. Obviously just to sort of keep the coffers, cost of living and all that sort of thing. And I've seen a job out. I'm going to have a go at it, but it might mean that I'm away for a few records, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, you and Merksy can talk about this in the anti-Joel group chat, or me and Merksy can talk about it in the anti-Merksy group chat. Or no, the anti-Kate, or you and I can talk about it in the anti-Merksy, whatever that is. I don't know, however that works. But I'm going to become the chef for Lotto Destiny next year. The head chef.
Right. like Anna Mears is the chef for the Olympics, like the chef de mission, like the boss of
the chef,
stuff,
the cook. I'll be
the cook.
The cook. They are looking for they're looking for a chef for season 2024 to accompany the team to reach proposed future goals, working very closely with dietitians and other members of the team. Now, I just want to run through what you need to do. You need to send out a shopping list to the hotels before races to make sure they have what you need to make your stuff. So for me, it's like, can you give, three dozen sausages, a couple of loaves of bread and some onions? Easy, tick.
Makes sense.
Sports menu. The menu will be created by sports dietitians. Suggestions from the chefs are always welcome. So they'll be like, pasta, quarter pounder, pasta, 3-piece box, pasta, supreme, thin crust. Easy. That's done. That's doable. You'll need to travel to training camps and races to prepare meals for the riders. Take a microwave. Take an air fryer. Here you go, guys. Chicken nuggets for you today. Sausage rolls. But I just want to run it by you guys because it does mean I'll be off base, off station a little bit. We can do the odd cross, though.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing I'll point out there, Joel, is it sounds like the nutritionist will be setting the menu and not you, and your suggestion of nuggies and quarter pounders and thin crust. So look, that makes you more adaptable, I suppose. I did notice that there were 2 requirements. One was that you have a diploma as a chef. So how are we going on that?
Semantics. Easy. Don't worry about it.
Okay. And the other one was that you are flexible. Now, it wasn't clear about what they meant by flexible, but just checking, can you touch your toes?
Yeah, very well. Yeah, extremely flexible. Yeah.
So, flexible, tick. Chef's diploma, TBC.
Here, I've got it right here. See, there it is. You saw it? Yeah, that's all you need to see. Hello, Merxy.
Okay, did you have a chef on your teams? What was the food like? You said it was crap.
We did not. We certainly did not know. The food was generally crap because you were relying on the hotels or wherever you may have been to get food. We did, every time we raced in Spain, I'm not kidding, every single meal was rice with an egg on top and then some pasta sauce. I loved it for a while. If I never eat that again in that combination, I'll be fairly happy.
Yep.
When we rocked up to most races in Italy, the races fed us. So you would go, hours before the race started for a pre-event meal. Usually in Italy, that was a giant ball of mozzarella and some cured meat, which I must say is delicious. Not sure how well it fueled me for the race, but very delicious. And then sometimes a bowl of bland pasta.
I tell you what, though, that's
better a lot of diversity.
The first idea that you put in my head then when you said the food was all crap. And I was like, I didn't realise... Are you talking about the quality of the food or the actual food itself was crap?
Yeah,
but no,
yes.
it wasn't crap. It was just poor quality is what you're saying.
Now, Joel. Yes, well, look, I think that the mozzarella and cured meats is delicious, but possibly not really great sitting in your stomach when you're about to race. But yeah, we just didn't have, we were going to restaurants and hoping that we could find what we wanted, and often you didn't. And you are quite particular with what you want to eat. And a lot of riders, not only around the caloric value, both for energy purposes and making sure you're getting your calories out of the right foods and the ones that will fuel you, but simply even having to wait for meals to be ordered and to come, it certainly wasn't ideal. And that's evolved a lot. How good that they have a chef. I mean, I have to be honest with you, Joel, this might be really hard to hear. I don't think it's for you. Not sure that you'll get the job if you go for it. But
yeah.
Good luck.
I've been doubted before. I'd like to say to you, do you remember that junior coach who said to you, give it up, Kate, don't worry about it. Don't focus on riding bikes, focus on other things.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's
I'm now that coach.
You've just become that coach.
Okay, I apologise.
I'm going to put an application in and see how we go.
I support you.
Thank you.
Merxy will write you a reference.
All right, good morning, everyone. Baked beans on toast yet again for the whole team. Let's do it. Now, Catherine... you are right. I won't be getting that job. Merxy might. Merxy's a very dab hand on the barbecue, especially. So we'll see. Now, some hilarious news to finish the Wheelhouse podcast, episode 70-something. Kate, now, the return of an annual Scottish tradition that absolutely ignites social media is the naming of the nation's slow ploughs and salt trucks. which is, it's like in Brisbane when they, I think it was Sydney actually, when they said, let's help us name a new ferry. And the name that won was Bodie McBoatface. And it's like, that's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get for trying to get people to be serious about something like that. This is along those lines. Some of the names that they've given to slow ploughs and salt trucks in Scotland, which they can now hilariously watch online. So they're labelled with their fun names and they can watch them crawling across the map. It's outstanding.
It is outstanding. Why is this relevant, you might ask? I mean, beside the fact that we're a very fun podcast and this is pretty funny, this year the honour has been bestowed upon a cyclist.
Yes.
To be in this, and that is Sir Grits Hoy. Now, he has been repurposed for the naming of these, and he is Sir Grits Hoy.
Sir Grits Hoy.
Snow plough is Sir Grits Hoy. Or maybe
awesome.
a salting effect. I don't know. I don't know how we differentiate, but there's some very cool names. Joel, we've got Gritney Spears. I like that.
Okay, yeah.
We've got Spready Mercury.
Oh, that's awesome. Spready Mercury.
Yes.
Very good.
We've got Carrie Bradthaw.
Okay. Okay, yep.
Which I like. I've come up with another cycling themed one for the magnificent young female athlete who's bursting onto the world tour at the moment. And the snowplow shall be called Snowy Backstead.
Snowy Backstead. There you go. I'm sure you're listening or watching Snowy. Hat tip to you. You've made it. You've made it. You've got a snowplow named after you. I love this one.
I love it.
Sweet Child O'Brien.
That is also very funny. Well, you know, one of my favourite, I shouldn't admit this, but my favourite de-stressing things to watch on the interwebs is not only lawn mowing videos, which are fantastically calming, but also rug cleaning videos, Joel. And one of the rug cleaners in this rug cleaning genre is called Dirt Reynolds.
Oh, boom.
See?
Yeah, that's awesome.
How good is it? So, yeah, look, I think that this can also be a yearly tradition for us to come up with. I mean, we've got Snowy Backstead this year, but we've got a year to come up with another one for next year. Maybe some of our community can help us with some inspo on that one.
Well, I tell you what, if Snowy Backstead is your starting point, wow, things are going to get really good.
Mm-hmm. Where are we going with this?
That's it. That's outstanding. Catherine, an honour, a pleasure, and a privilege. Thank you. I've got to run. I've got to go put my CV and cover letter together for the new job application.
Excellent.
It's been outstanding.
Yes.
You need to get down to Centennial as well, I believe. Merckx has already left. He's on his way down to Centennial. Yeah.
I think Merckx is on BikeBug ordering one of the giant vibrating massage Theragun balls. Yeah.
The massaging ball. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. It's been fun. It's episode 73. It's the Wheelhouse podcast. It's the off season. It's easily digestible. It's mostly factual. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell everyone you want or everyone you can. Catherine, until next time, au revoir.
Until next time, au revoir. There will be tinsel next time.
Yeah, there's going to be a decorated
There will be tinsel.
Look out for that.
Don't think there will be a next time.
Boom.
We'll see. Bye, everyone.